Hey guys, I'm back home now, but on the way in, you guys are clicking on this video. I just want to give a little safety message. And today the conditions were borderline unsafe, especially to be anchored and bottom fishing, and even more so by myself. So I just want to remind everybody, watch the video, you'll see, I fell on the transom, I lost my balance, and I leaned into the boat because, if I fall out of the boat, especially with the current that we had today, I'll never be able to reach a boat. But guys, when you're gonna go out on the boat, things can change in a minute. Make sure that you're paying attention to your weather apps, and always, always, always be safe out there. Enjoy the video. Well, that's looking promising. Up, up. Hey guys, what do we got here? All right, well, that was wishful thinking there. So today, wanted to bring you along doing some grouper fishing. It's the opening weekend of grouper. We have made it a family tradition of ours that we always come out on May 1st. No matter what we were doing back when I was still working, before I was fishing for a living, we would always take off. My wife and I would take off no matter what day of the week it fell. Fell on Wednesday, we're taking off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we would fish all those days, and then we would come out with the kids on Saturday. So we really hit it hard at the opening of grouper. And this year we couldn't come out. My wife's home with the baby. This is way too rough for her. And if you're new to the channel, my wife and I just had a baby last year in February. So she's 14, 15 months, something like that, 13 months. And I'm gonna bring her out here. We've brought her out. We did some stone crabbing with her, but really quick, couple hours, getting her used to the boat. She loves it. She loves watching the fishing shows with me, so that's a really good plus. But today is just way too rough. We couldn't bring her out. We are going to bring her on her first trip out and do some yellowtailing with her. But I wanted to bring you guys along opening weekend, May 1st, like I was saying. We were getting our stone crab traps out of the water. We got all the traps out by the 30th, but I had all the crab. We finished very late. And then the 1st is the last day that you could sell crab to the market. So we had to get all the crab, we cooked it, and we had to get it to the market on the 1st before it closed so that we could sell it. So we couldn't come out on the opening day. This was beautiful weather. Guys crushed it. Everybody that I talked to got a lot. So I said, you know what, we'll come out on opening weekend, and we are the only boater out here. It's just me and you. I'm out here by myself. It is extremely rough. I don't even know if we're going to be able to make the full day. Anchoring here, we're in 47 feet of water now. One of our yellowtail spots was a chore by myself. The waves, said 2 feet, and they're every bit of 4 feet, and some that are 5 and 6 feet. It is a tough day to be bottom fishing. So the other thing is, I got here, got anchored, put the chum in the water, and we don't have a stitch of current. So if you know about bottom fishing, if you have no current, it's not gonna work. So we're gonna try here. I'm gonna get this chum out, see if we can get a couple yellowtails. I just need one for the baby. She has not eaten a yellowtail yet, and I think she's gonna love it. It's one of the best fish, one of my favorites to eat, great for fish tacos. And it's extremely, well, we meal plan for her one side of a yellowtail, legal 12, 13-inch yellowtail size, the average size. One side of it will be a meal for her with some vegetables. So we get a couple, we can feed her for a week. But we're gonna see what we can do here. And the good thing is that we've got every bit of 20, 25 mile an hour winds. So we gotta have some movement for it to work. So if I can't anchor and fish, if we don't get any current, we're definitely gonna drift. So I got the electric reels here. case I have to do some drifting in deep water. We'll see how it goes. I've had this chum out two boxes for probably a good 30-40 minutes, and there's not even a ballyhoo that has come up. So that's not good. You know it's gonna be good as soon as you get here and you haven't even put chum out yet, and you got fish coming up to the boat. And this is a good yellowtail spot that we fish a lot. I always like to drop a line down to the bottom when we are yellowtailing. And guys, I got my back turned just because the wind is, even though we got the lav on the mic, it's a lot of wind. But I always like to drop a line down to the bottom when we're doing this heavy chumming because you never know what's going to swim by. One of the biggest munnins I ever caught was in 45 feet of water, yellowtailing. I am fishing today here off of North Key Largo. Is that the Coast Guard? And a helicopter flying really low. Really, really low. It's like a military helicopter. Get my phone real quick. See if I can record it for you guys. Oh, they are very, very low. And it's a military. So without current, guys, this is not going to work well. But we're going to give this spot a little bit, and if we have to drift, I'll drift down in deeper water because this anchoring is extremely difficult with these waves. There we go. Ah, houndfish. Not what we wanted. All right, guys. I should say, I'm by myself, exhausted all efforts here. Got a couple ballyhoos, 3 of them that came up, and they were struggling. They earned their meal today with that chum. Struggling trying to swim in these waves, but I'm gonna go ahead and get the anchor ball on, and I'm gonna go ahead and move to one of the grouper spots that we fish, you know, year round, and hopefully we can yield a grouper there in that spot because it is really kind of borderline unsafe to be anchoring by myself once, you know, we got these big waves and you really want to have somebody at the wheel to not let the boat get broadside in these big waves. It can become very dangerous when you're broadside in these big waves, but I'm going to try to anchor there, see what we do there. That spot's 4 miles south of us here, and we really can't give it much speed today, so it's going to take us a little bit to get there. And we're going to try to see if that works out, pans out, and if not, didn't want to do it, but we got a good 10-mile run from there. We got some good deep water mutton snapper spots that we could try, but let's see. We got to go home with dinner. So for all you guys watching at home, and you don't do this for a living, and you get to the weekend and you want to go fishing, when it's blowing 20 and 25, stay home. Yeah, I don't think we're going to make that 15-mile run. All right, guys, we are We are anchored up. We are in our grouper spot. We got a little bit of current and a little bit bigger waves, so at least we got some current though. So a little bit of current helps. We got some good marks on the screen on the bottom. So now we just need the fish to cooperate. And that is the hardest part. You know, for this to go right, you gotta have the conditions have to be right. And then ultimately the fish, you know, they need to eat. So they gotta do their part. All right guys, so we are anchored out here. Got 2 lines. We're in a little bit better situation here. Current's kind of going this way, kind of at a northeasterly angle. So we could fish 2 lines off the stern. I've got a lighter lead on this one to try to get it out of the way and beyond this one. Because if you can imagine, the leaders under the water are going at an angle like that. Oh, 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 oh. This guy here. All right, well, just as I was saying that I thought that was gonna work, this is not gonna work because this is so close to the motors. Well, let's see what we got here. All right, red grouper, guys. Oh my goodness, it is way too rough to be out here. Let's get this guy measured up. I think he's good. He's got to be 20 inches. Holy moly. That was close. All right, so just as I was telling you, that one is not gonna work. Ooh, 25. All right, so we got the grouper for my dad. He asked me if I could get him a grouper today. He said, if you could get me 1 grouper. He wanted a black, but we're gonna go with this red one, and this is already guaranteed for him. He just had surgery, so he couldn't come out. But look at this beautiful, beautiful specimen. So this is what we set out for today. Come out here and catch them, so I could catch 2 of these. And very quickly, so let me get them on ice and I'll talk about the bait that we had out. All right guys, so just to show you what we had on that one, we dropped this one first. We got a shark on it instantly as soon as we got here, but we've got this one with a ballyhoo, whole ballyhoo, and we dropped this one. This is my favorite bait, so I'm gonna get this guy in a saltwater brine, and then I'm gonna explain to you how you could catch these and kind of the gear that you need and the bait. But here in South Florida and the Keys, these Speedos are phenomenal. They've been hard to come by the last few years, but when you could get them, this is candy for grouper and muddin. I'm gonna get that guy in a ice and saltwater brine, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what you need to do and how you need to set your rods up to catch these. All right, guys, so how do you catch these things? Here's the way that we like to do it. You know, obviously I'm using one electric today and one conventional reel. And it's just because if I happen to get two fish at once, there's no, you know, I don't want to lose one. We usually, I don't like to use the electrics until we get into a little bit deeper water, where you got to go up on the lead, or when you're drifting and you got to be on the wheel. But on our conventional reel, we've got a Talica 16 2-speed reel. They're super light. They're extremely powerful. You are not going to hook anything that you're not going to bring up with this Talica. It's phenomenal. We've got it paired up on a Shimano Torres rod. We've got 80-pound braid. And then we've got, this one's got like a 30-foot leader, 25-foot leader. This one's got a 40-foot leader. I just wanted to have them at different lengths under the boat, but I do love using long leaders, 30, 40, 45 feet, you know, very long leaders. I like to get the bait very far away from where that lead is hitting the ground. I don't want anything to spook these fish. And I just feel that if I have it so close to the lead and it's bouncing there, it can spook them. But I mean, I see a lot of guys catch them on knocker rigs and that lead is right by the bait. But that's just the way that we like to do it. The Shimano Torres rod, it's got a really fast action tip. We can see everything on that rod. And you really need to have, it doesn't need to be a Talica, but you really need to get something that's got a lot of drag and a lot of line retrieval. So I think these are 48 inches of line retrieval, 46, something like that. It's right around 4 feet every time you turn the handle. You want something with a lot of line retrieval, because when these groupers attack that bait, the first thing that they're gonna wanna try to do is get into some structure, get in a rocket in a hole, and you've got to crank that thing out of the bottom, and you need a lot of drag to stop them. These fish are extremely powerful, and a regular cookie cutter reel is not going to cut it to get these fish off the bottom. I mean, here we are, we're in 122 feet. You need power to get them all the way up. I mean, it wasn't a good demonstration there with the electric reel. I thought how I had it set up, the line was clearing the motor, but as soon as he got tight, he went to go under the boat. And I'd rather have the line go under the boat than around the motors, because it's not gonna make it. And so I had to take it out of the rod holder there to kind of push it out and get the line away from the boat. But now I've changed it. I've got in a 0-degree rod holder, and I actually lightened up the lead and see if I could get it further away from the motors. But circle hook, you gotta use a circle hook, and really all you wanna do is just hook this bait going in from the bottom jaw and out of the top of the head, and leave that hook sticking out. And these guys, you know, don't worry that you've got such a big bait. These guys have a huge mouth, and the way that they eat is that they ambush their prey. They come and they suck it right up. So it's gonna be one quick hit on the rod. From a bottom perspective, guys, you wanna be obviously on a bottom with some structure. We are right now over a really rocky area here. It's a strip that kind of goes about 3 miles. And yeah, this might not work either. Oh man. This is going to be tough today with the current, how we've got it. This strip goes about 3 miles right here, and it's about half a mile wide. Some spots it gets a little less. Some spots it goes up to 3/4 of a mile, but very hard, rocky bottom. You could find that on your sonar. You want to, we like to really see that lead just tapping the bottom. Turn the wheel here and see if I can get this thing to open up a little bit. We like to have that lead tapping the bottom. That way we know we're right on the bottom. Some people like to lay it on the bottom. We like to just have it tap in there. But really the key, guys, is gonna be a good reel. You gotta find yourself some good rocky bottom, and you could use ballyhoos, you could use squid, you could use speedos. Speedos is our favorite bait, but doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only thing that'll work. My wife loves squid. That's all she ever uses is squid, and she catches a bunch of grouper when she comes out here with us. But very, very effective squid. And then you sit them out and you just wait. I mean, we got lucky here. We spent a couple hours in the first spot trying to chum up some yellowtails. We didn't have good current. We've got a little bit of current here, which is making it much better for us to fish. Because what happens is if you don't have current, and I'll make a little diagram here in the computer and I'll throw it up here when I'm editing, but if you don't have current, all of your bait and line and everything is just gonna sit right on the bottom and it's not gonna do anything. When you have current, it keeps all of your leaders stretched and that bait stretched as well. So we got very, very lucky here. So, I mean, we just dropped that line, wasn't even in the water for 5 minutes. Let me bring this one up, check the bait. Uh-oh. Oh. Just as I said that and started to reel. Oh God, he got it. Ooh, this is another red. We'll be at our limit. Oh, am I tangled in both of the lines? Nah. Holy moly. Some weight to him. I am tangled, but he is there. He's on this one. What a chittery. So guys, don't listen to me about the lead. That didn't work. They still crossed over each other. Another beautiful red. Ooh, Nelly. Wow. Just as I started reeling it up to check the bait, he swallowed it. Let's go ahead and measure this guy. 23. All right. 23 inches. So there you go, guys. You could catch him with ballyhoo or you could catch him with speedos. That one was sitting there, and just as I started reeling it off the bottom, he ambushed it. And hopefully the camera angle there, you could see, you know, how that rod was bending, just to give you an idea of how much power these guys have and how much they could pull back. And if you don't have a good reel with a lot of drag, that guy's gonna rock you up. And so, let me see if I can open their mouth here so you can see what I'm talking about. Whew. Get a good hold. Ah! This guy does not want to open his mouth. I'll show you that in the other one once we get them on ice, and I'll open it up. But guys, these guys, their mouth can open up. You know, I could fit my whole hand through it. And so they're gonna ambush that big bait. Let me get this guy on ice. That was very quick. Clearly, oh, you know what? I could drop again. The aggregate is 3 red groupers. And I'm thinking about 1 black grouper, but I'm not gonna leave here in search of a black grouper. Give my dad a red grouper if they're biting this good. I mean, I've been here 30 minutes. Let me get this guy on ice, get some bait, and drop it back. And guys, while I tie this, if you're watching this, you wanna come on a charter with us, check out our website, pescatarianfishing.com. You can book a charter there, and we'll come out here and get you on some fish, and we'll also show you, right? We've got a lot of folks that come that are just doing it for fun, and then we've got other folks that are, you know, interested in learning and you know, catching fish, and they're avid fishermen. I mean, we had one charter that the charter guest ended up buying a boat after our trip that he had with us. So super stoked. He sent me a picture of it and said, hey, I'm gonna have to cancel the next trip. I bought myself a boat. But yeah, we'll teach you. And if you're thinking about doing this on your own, like I said, go out and find yourself a good hard bottom with let me get this back in the water. Good hard bottom, rocks. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be in like we are now in 120 feet of water. I got a buddy of mine, he doesn't go deeper than 40 feet of water fishing, and he catches, you know, he catches a bunch of fish in shallow water. So you just got to find these spots, find the structure, find the rocky bottom, and just trial and error, right? Every time you go out, keep a log, write everything down. Even if you go out and you tried spots and you didn't catch anything, don't feel bummed out that, man, I don't have any intel, I don't have anything that I could write down because I didn't catch anything. And I'll tell you, that is just as valuable as when you do catch, is the spots that you try that you don't catch anything on. Now, just because you tried it one time and you didn't catch anything doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to be there. You know, there's a lot of things that the tide, the moon cycle, it goes into play. But when you have spots that are not productive or they're not yielding the species that you want out of that, that's great information that you have, because now you know where not to go, right? And so that's just as valuable as where to catch them, is where not to go for them. So very important to keep all that log of all that stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and get another bait and see if we can't catch our third one. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna call it a day. I came out here on the opening weekend to bring you guys along. The mission was get a grouper. It's rough as hell. The tide changed. It's 12:30 now. Tide changed, I don't know, about an hour and a half ago. And when the tide changed, the current picked up. I mean, it looks like the boat is in gear. So it's good. We like the current, but this is just way too much current. I'm using a 2-pound stick lead now, and it's hard to hold bottom with a 2-pound lead. You can see how the angle of that line going out. We got 2 groupers, or I got 2 groupers. I'm the only one on the boat. 2 red groupers. Was really hoping for that third one, but now when the tide changed, what happened is there was no current at all, very, very slight current. So our bow was to the east. We've got an east wind today, 20, 25 miles an hour. The problem is that when the tide changed, now the current is flowing north, very fast current, strong current going north. So it's stronger than the wind. So it's got the boat sideways, and I'm getting hit with these waves here from the side. It's just been unbearable the last hour and a half, 2 hours. So the bite has really died down. Normally this is where I'm gonna be picking up the anchor and I'm gonna keep going to different spots, but I wanted to get my old man a grouper. He asked me for a grouper, he couldn't come with me. He just had back surgery, so he's home resting. He got out of the hospital a couple days ago. But we got him a grouper, and we got a grouper for us for dinner. And if I hurry home, I can get this boat cleaned and get this fish cleaned and have time to cook and go to bed at a decent time. But I want to show you oh my God. Here we go. This is what we set off for. These guys are delicious. Remember what I was telling you earlier about their mouth? Take a look at that right there. That thing will swallow up any bait. I mean, I could stick my whole hand in there. These guys are extremely delicious. So fortunate and blessed to be able to do what I do. But thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to check out a video of my favorite species to catch, check this video out.